Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today is a day that I really have dreaded for a very long time, and unfortunately we've had some of the absolute worst news come to the garden that is just, oh my gosh, it's heartbreaking. So if you have roses in your garden, if you have a rose in your garden, what I'm about to tell you is like your worst nightmare. Every rose gardener dreads this day. So what am I talking about? I have discovered rosette disease on my David Austins in the backyard. So what we're going to do today is I am going to share with you this. I mean, it's an absolute disaster. Like, this is literally probably the absolute worst news any rose gardener could ever get. And so, but it is what it is. And so I am going to share with you what is rosette disease, how does a rose get it, how do you treat it, what do you do, does this mean the death to all roses in your garden? All the above. So as we have always done here at Gardening with Creekside, when something comes up and happens to us, then I know that it has definitely happened to other people, and so we are sharing our experience with you so that you can learn from what is happening to us, and so you can have that knowledge moving forward, because knowledge is power. So first of all, what is rosette disease? Well, it is a deadly virus that is transmitted by mites to roses. There is absolutely no cure. The only way that you can treat rosette disease is to completely remove the rose from your garden. So that's what we're doing today. We are removing the 3 Poet's Wife roses from the garden. Let me show you how to identify it. So we're going to show you how to identify it. It's very easy to notice, and then go from there. So we are here in the backyard. You remember that I moved these 3 Poet's Wife roses. These are David Austin. There's one that's blooming, so you can see why I love this rose. It is a beautiful yellow rose that smells divine. So that is what it looks like, and the rose in the middle is the one that has the rosette disease that I can clearly, obviously see. The telltale sign is what they call witch's broom. So, and I tried to get an up-close picture and it was not happening, y'all. Can you see how completely deformed these leaves are? Like this whole entire thing is absolutely deformed. It is funky, it is gnarly. Here is one that's an older one. So you can see that. I mean, just like this is the rose. Like, look at that. Look how deformed that is. It is all up in this rose. So that is the telltale sign that you have rosette disease. New growth, but it's super short, gnarly, very compact, just looks terrible. That is the sign, my friends. And so I was actually in the garden not too long ago doing some maintenance, and I saw this one, and at first I was like, no, that's not it. And then the more I kept getting in the garden, I was in denial, right? I was like, no, that's not it. And I was like, finally, yes, it is it. So I have the 3 of them here. The one in the middle is the one that is showing it, but I have 2 on each side. So what we're going to do is, like I said, there's absolutely no cure. There's no treatment for rosette disease. I can't just cut it back and it'll come back beautiful. No. And because this is a deadly disease for roses, I have got to move with purpose and remove this rose and the ones beside of it immediately. So that is what I'm going to do today. The reason that I am removing the 2 to the side, I am being preventative, because more than likely, because of their just their proximity to one another, the mites that carry it can easily have gone from this one to this one or to the other one. And in order to save the rest of my roses that are in my garden, I'm cutting out the cancer and I'm just removing them all. So what we're going to do is I've got 2 pop-up bags here in the back of Johnny. So when you have rosette disease, you have to completely remove all foliage. So, and it's, you do not compost it. So I have got my big black trash bags. So I'm gonna put my trash bags inside my pop-ups, and I am going to go through and I am going to cut down all 3 roses. I'm just doing that to make it more manageable. All of the vegetation, roots, everything from these roses will go in those black trash bags, and then they will go up into our dumpster. So the trash people come every Monday morning, so they will take them and they will put them in the landfill. You do not compost these because they have got the mites on them, and if you compost, you're just moving the mites to a different area. When the wind blows like it is right now, those mites could actually go into the rest of your garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove these 3 roses that have the rosette disease and the potential for having them because of the proximity. Then I'm going to meet you back here and we're going to talk about how do you get rosette disease, how do you prevent it, and then what do we do moving forward? Does this mean that I can never have roses again in this space? So again, it is heavy heart. I was in denial, but there is good news. I will say that. There is light at the end of the tunnel, so all hope is not lost. I'll explain when we meet you back here after I whack my beautiful, beautiful roses. My friends, all 3 of the poet's wife, they have been sheared all the way back, bagged up, roots dug up, all roots that I could find went into the trash bag. They are gone. They are out of the garden. Let me show you the space. It's just really, you know, an empty space where the 3 were, and you can see 1, 2, 3. But yes, they are completely gone. They are in the back of the John Deere. Brenna and I will run them up to the dumpster in a minute. However, we're going to finish the rest of this video in the shade because it has been raining here in North Carolina for almost like 10 days, almost 2 weeks. We have gotten so much rain, which is not necessarily, you know, a bad thing. I'm not, well, I guess I am. We just gotten a lot of rain, a ton of rain. And then the sun came out, and you know what happens if you're in the South and you've had inches upon inches upon inches of rain and the sun comes out. Yeah, dying. So I actually looked. We have the same humidity and the dew point right now as the Bahamas. Yep, that's right. So for those of you that are like, oh, well, you know, it's not that bad. Y'all, I had sweat dripping off my nose. So we're gonna finish this in the shade. All right, let's talk about rosette disease and all the things, because knowledge is power. And even if you have never had rosette disease, but you have a rose in your garden, I think this is very important that you know this so you understand what it is, how it comes to be, and all the things. All right. So rosette disease, first of all, it only affects roses. So I don't have to be concerned about my hydrangeas, my Hinoki slender, my Amsonia, my ginkgo, my cherry trees. I don't have to worry about any of that. The only thing I have to worry about is the roses, hence its name, rosette disease. So you're good on everything else. It is carried by a specific mite. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of this mite. We will put it up here on the screen for you because my sweet little pronunciation police will come after me because I know that I will butcher it. All you need to know is it is a mite, and it is one of the smallest mites out there. So essentially, it would be impossible to visually see unless you were really going out there and specifically like looking for the mite. The first sign that you're going to know that you have rosette disease is exactly what happened to mine, that witch's broom, where you have the tips. It affects because the mites are feeding on that new tender growth and where the buds are and where they're forming. So that's where you're going to notice that first sign of it. They're going to be severely disfigured. They're going to be gnarly. The flowers are going to be deformed. You're going to have all of this great, like not great, all this like it is good as far as like new growth, right? So there's tons of new growth, but it's super gnarly and nasty looking. There is no doubt when you look at this rose compared to other roses that you're like, something's not right with you. That's the rosette disease, okay? So it's spread by these mites that actually, if you have like the wild multifloral roses, like what we have growing in the woods here, we try to get rid of them as they come up, but it is kind of a never-ending battle to get rid of those. That's where the mites come from. And then they come, the wind blows, that kind of thing, and then they land on the good roses, and that's how they get into your garden. As we talked about, there is no cure. Y'all, do your research, okay? You can do your research, and if anybody tells you that there's a cure, they're wrong. All of the credible educational resources, there is no cure, there is no treatment for rosette disease. What you must do is do exactly what I did. Cut down the roses, bag them up in plastic bags, put them in the trash, get them off of your property, put them in the landfill. Get rid of the root ball, get rid as many roots, much vegetation as you can. You will notice that I also got out my rake and I raked up all the leaves that had fallen, even the old ones. Get those up and bag them. The good thing is, the positive thing is that the rosette disease is not soil borne, meaning it does not live in the soil, which is very good news. The only way that you're going to have evidence of that disease is if you still have mites feeding on green debris in the bed. So if you don't get all of your roots out, if you leave some of it, or you just don't even treat it at all, then it's just going to spread rampant. So that's why we want to get as much vegetation out of the flower bed as possible in a bag in the dumpster. Now, because it is not soil borne, that means that I can replant roses in that spot. Now, I'm going to have to take a little bit of a time off because as much as I tried, I am sure that there are still a couple of those little fine hair roots in the flower bed. So you want to wait a minimum of 2 months before you put a new rose in that bed. Don't try to save the other roses and replant them. You're just putting yourself right back in the same boat. Except the fact that you have to throw them away and throw them away. So what I have done after I have done this research, because before doing this research, I thought it was once you had it, you couldn't put a rose back in there. But the good news is that yes, we can. We just have to wait a period. So these were great quality roses, David Austin's. So I reordered 3 of the exact same rose as a 2 quart from David Austin. They're set to ship sometime in September to me. So what I'm going to do is, because my 2 months will put me kind of towards the winter, I am going to take those roses, move them up to like a 3-gallon container, and put them in my stash. And I'm going to let them grow, let their roots grow all winter long, and then come late February, early March, I will plant them in this same spot, and all should be well. Also, let's see. Okay, so I had these roses. They were great quality roses. So why did these 3 roses get it and not somebody else? Well, the only thing that I can think of is, as I have always preached to you, a strong, healthy plant is able to fight off disease, pest, all of those kinds of things. If you remember, I moved those roses from by the fountain to this flower bed in early spring. They had been in there for quite a couple of years, and I moved them. So I transplanted them, which caused stress. I don't care how careful you are with the plant. When you dig it up and you move it, you're going to cause some stress on the plant. That's the only thing I can think of, is that these were under some stress because they hadn't been in their new home even a year, probably not even maybe 6 months, if even that. And so they were under stress, and so then they were susceptible to that mite, especially the center one. So it is what it is. So the best way that you can prevent getting rosette disease is, one, is if you have multiflora roses growing wild around you, you want to get rid of those. Just cut them. Just get them out. Doesn't mean necessarily that they are affected yet, but they could be, and they could have the mites on there. So just let's get rid of them, right? If you see it, get rid of it. Don't be obsessive, but if you see it, get rid of it. 2, you want to make sure that every late winter you are pruning your roses. I preach this all the time. Every late winter I show you how to prune roses. If you need a step-by-step tutorial, check out the video above. I will have it linked. I tell you how to do it. We need to feed our roses regularly. I'm bad about this. So this is a wake-up call for me, that I've got to make sure I am feeding my roses once a month with a slow-release fertilizer like Rosetone. That way they have plenty of food and energy to fight off anything that comes at them. And then, compost. Roses love compost. So when you're pruning them or when you're fertilizing them before they get too big and leafed out and all this other stuff, add compost at least once a year. Maybe you do it in the spring, maybe you do it in the fall together, or you just do it in the late winter, early spring when they're still small and you have pruned them. They love that compost, and then make sure they get regular water. Those I wasn't worried about because I had irrigation on them, so they're definitely getting water. The area that I know that I was lacking was the food, so I've got to step up my game for that. So if you get rosette disease in your garden, it is sad. It's very sad because I did not want to have to rip those roses out. But the good news is it was contained to 1 flower bed, to 1 rose officially that I knew of, but I wasn't going to take any chances. I want to get rid of the other 2 to be on the safe side, because I don't want to lose the rest of my roses. So I'll just have to wait next year. I still will have that rose in the garden, but it'll just be of a smaller size and we get started all over. And to make sure I take care of my good roses, my established roses, by feeding them and giving them what they need. So if you get rosette disease, it's not the end of the world. You can still have roses. It's just going to set you back a little bit. All right, my friends, it is always something in gardening. It teaches you patience. It teaches you humility, because you go, oh, I could never get that kind of disease in my garden. Well, guess what? Yes, you can. Never say never, my friends. Okay, if y'all have found this fun and informative, we would love it if you would like and subscribe, that we don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. That way we can learn together and share our knowledge with one another. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.